The future isn't waiting. It's being written by every decision we make today.
Technology is the pen. Humanity is the author. The story is still ours to write. And that story can be a positive one of a brighter future.
Small actions at scale don't just change industries, they change history.
We don't inherit the future. We co-create it with courage, code, and compassion.
Every startup, every breakthrough, every bold idea is a vote for the world we want to live in.
The greatest disruption of this century won't be in technology. It will be in how we choose to treat each other.
Please welcome to the stage, founder and CEO of WebSummit, Paddy Cosgrave.
Wow. Lisbon, good evening. This is our 10th year in Portugal. You're very, very welcome. It's also been just over 10 years since a tiny 3-person startup called Revolut showed up at WebSummit for the very first time. Today, Revolut is Europe's most valuable private tech company. 10 years ago, it already felt like the world was changing fast, but it's nothing compared to how fast the world is changing today. Over the coming days, you'll meet the most advanced humanoid robots in the world out on the floor at WebSummit. They're not European, they're not American, instead, they are Chinese. You'll also hear from those behind the world's leading AI models on this stage. They're not American. Instead, as of the last few weeks, they are almost all Chinese. Unlike OpenAI or Anthropic, Chinese AI models are open source, they're free to use, and in the words of NVIDIA's CEO just a few days ago, they'll likely win the AI race. This was utterly unimaginable just 12 months ago. But the world is changing so much faster than ever before. Of course, there's more happening in the world than just Chinese robots and Chinese AI. Money, they say, makes the world go round. Well, the world's payment systems are on the cusp of being revolutionized, not by an American tech company or by European central banks, but by an instant, real-time payment system created by the Central Bank of Brazil. It's called PIX, P-I-X. And there are a lot of Brazilians here, let me tell you. And just like Chinese AI models, PIX is entirely free. It's so revolutionary, it has become the repeated target of President Trump in recent weeks and months. Why? Because as PIX spreads across the global south in the coming years, and then perhaps into the rest of the world, it may imperil incumbent payment and fintech monopolies. How can you compete with free online payments or transactions? PIX is the revolution many of you haven't heard about yet, but I believe you will leave WebSummit knowing all about it. WebSummit used to be defined by a competition between Western tech companies and startups. But this year, more than any year before, it's clear that the era of Western tech dominance is fading. But even within the West, there's significant changes which we should not ignore. Within Europe, the center of gravity for economic growth and technology is shifting. For the first year ever, the number of German startups at WebSummit has unfortunately declined. But the number of startups from Germany's next-door neighbor, Poland, is at a record high. Poland, I would argue, is becoming the poster child of a new Europe, motivated, ambitious, organized. As parts of Western Europe stagnate, Poland and Eastern Europe accelerates. The world has and is shifting, and I hope over the next few days, all of you will have the opportunity to learn from and meet with many of those leading that shift. From Chinese AI and robotics companies, to PIX in Brazil, to Poland's new generation of startups, to startups from countries like Qatar in the Middle East, to Africa, Central Asia, India, and Vietnam. I think, personally, we have never lived in a more exciting moment. Of course, all is not lost for my dear Western Europe. This evening, you'll hear from the CEO and founder of a startup that is the fastest to 100 million in revenue company ever. That company is lovable. That company was started by a Swedish entrepreneur and is based in Stockholm. And there are many other incredible startups speaking over the coming week from London, from Berlin, from Paris, from Madrid, from Milan, and of course, from Portugal, our host country. I've no doubt that there's another Revolut at WebSummit, maybe several. 2 or 3 people with a tiny stand and a huge idea. And I hope you all take the opportunity to meet the thousands of early-stage startups who are exhibiting and speaking on stage over the coming 3 days. Finally, usually you should do this at the start, to presidents and prime ministers, dignitaries, startups, Chinese robots, and our attendees from all over the world, welcome to Portugal. What a magnificent host country. Enjoy WebSummit. It's time to get the show started. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage, co-host of WebSummit Vancouver, Casey Lau.
All right, thank you, Patty, and thank you to our hosts. Let's kick off with the sights of Lisboa. Wow, round of applause. Come on, Lisboa. All right, now, to officially open our doors, I'm honored to welcome two incredible partners who make this conference possible. Please welcome the host of this incredible city, Mayor Carlos Moedas, and a key driver of Portugal's digital future, Minister Gonçalo Mateus.
Good to see you. Oh, so very good. No, we're good. We're good. Thank you so much. I'm very happy and welcome to Lisbon. Welcome to this incredible crowd. You know, it's my 5th year as a mayor to come here, and it's impossible not to be impressed by this crowd. You are an amazing crowd of people, and you make it happen in Lisbon. So I'm really glad of being here, and I'm really glad that you are here with me to put this city forward. I'm absolutely always so happy. And you know, this for me is a moment where I take a little bit stock of what we've done, and I think about the future with you to co-design that future. It was here in 2022 that we launched the Unicorn Factory of Lisbon. In a piece of paper, we had nothing. And today we have 16 unicorns that have offices in Lisbon. And on Thursday, we're going to launch our 17th unicorn of Lisbon here at the Web Summit. So thank you so much. And with that, you know, it's not about the unicorns, it's about everything else. We got like 82 tech companies that came to Lisbon that made a difference, and those companies created more than 16,000 jobs. But let me tell you just 2 things that I think are essential for innovation, 2 ingredients that make a city successful. The first is about social justice. It was here that in 2024, I launched the biggest prize in Europe for social innovation. We made it with the money we won to be the capital of innovation of Europe with €1 million. And we made that prize to be really unique in terms of getting 300 companies to come to Portugal to look into health, education, migration, because that's really important for innovation, is important for the city, is important for the countries. A country cannot work without social justice. That's, for me, a key point. But this year, I come here with another idea, because I've been working in the next 10 years. What do I want? What do we want Lisbon to be? And I think there's a secret ingredient, which is culture and art. And you know, in 2015, I was at the Nobel Prize ceremony. And I met this woman, a Chinese woman. She was not a doctor. She never studied medicine. And she won the Nobel Prize for Medicine. Her name is Tu Youyou. Tu Youyou, in the 70s, started by reading texts of more than 2,000 years, reading poetry. And at some point, she was invited by the government to a secret military task force to study malaria. And Tu Youyou, at the time, she read more than 2,000 poems and poetry and texts from the 4th century. And she discovered that a plant called Artemisia could, if not boiled in hot water, but it was treated with freezing water, could cure malaria. And after that, she saved millions of people from malaria. 400,000 people a year that she saved since the 70s. And that's why she won the Nobel Prize in Medicine. And so culture is the secret source of innovation. In the digital world where everything is 0 and 1, the only thing that is different is our human nature through culture. And so last year, we had for the first time in Lisbon, the Tribeca Film Festival. This year, we had the second time. And we had that film festival exactly at the Unicorn Factory. And I saw all these great actors. One day I was wandering around and it was Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad at Micro Harvest, one of the best companies we have there that produces vegetable protein. And these intersections in between the actors, in between the art, in between the culture and the tech world, for me, are the future. So I want Lisbon to be that city. The city where social justice meets innovation and innovation meets culture and art. That's what I want you to help me. And so help me on those next steps for the next 10 years, that Lisbon will be not just the capital of innovation, but will be the capital of culture and the capital of social justice. Thank you so much. Enjoy the ride. You are always welcome to this great city of Lisbon. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Web Summit. Welcome to Lisboa. It's great to have you here. It is a great privilege to be here at the Web Summit, one of the world's most dynamic gatherings of technology, innovation, and Portugal is honored to welcome you once again to Lisboa, a capital of ideas where tradition meets transformation. I am honored to be here representing the Prime Minister of Portugal at a time when our country is fully committed to building a simpler, more digital, and more trusted state. A state that puts people and businesses at the very center of public action. Technology today is a force that challenges us to rethink how we govern, how we decide, and how we serve. Artificial intelligence, data, and digital transformation are reshaping our economy, our administration, and even the very idea of governance itself. Our goal is clear: to make Portugal a global hub for innovation. We believe technology must empower citizens, strengthen democracy, and create opportunity for all. We are determined to accelerate our economy, not through short-term measures, but through lasting transformation. We cannot wait for growth. We must build it. The digital revolution offers a historic opportunity to create new industries, new jobs, and new prosperity. By embracing technology and entrepreneurship, we can make our economies more dynamic, more sustainable, and more resilient to global challenges. The future moves fast, and so must we. Portugal is building a smarter, faster, and more responsive state, one that anticipates needs and delivers results for citizens and businesses. Our goal is clear, a state that is agile, transparent, and intelligent, turning information into action and challenges into opportunities. The upcoming national AI agenda, expected in the next weeks, stands at the core. It will connect technology, economy, and sovereignty, placing Portugal as a hub for responsible AI and innovation. We now stand at a decisive moment. AI is no longer the future. It is already reshaping the world. With an estimated economic impact of 2.3 trillion euros by 2030, AI is the engine of our economy. To make this vision real, we are developing our digital infrastructure. The national strategy for data centers will bring tens of billions of euros in investment, while a national sovereign cloud will ensure independence, trust, and security. Digital sovereignty is not abstract. It is the foundation of a state that citizens can rely on today and tomorrow. Yet technology alone is not enough. Digital transformation is built by people. That is why we have launched the Digital Skills Pact, aiming to train over 2 million citizens by 2030 in both basic and advanced digital skills. A digital state cannot thrive without digital citizens. This is our moment to reimagine what a state can be: intelligent, dynamic, and human-centered. A state that does not wait for the future, but creates it. Portugal is ready, Portugal is moving, and together we will lead the way. 1 year ago, right here, on this stage, we introduced Amália, the Portuguese large model. In just 12 months, Amália has moved from promise to impact. We want to help citizens connect with public digital services in a way that is more human, more direct, and more intelligent. We want to empower our scientific community. With Amália, we are giving answers we couldn't give yesterday. We want to give every student an AI tutor that listens, guides, and inspires their learning. Give every citizen a hand to navigate the state with simplicity, clarity, and care. And give every company the power to imagine, create, and shape their future in the age of artificial intelligence. Amália is more than a model. It is a bridge between ideas and action, and a promise that technology, guided by our values, can transform society and create opportunities for all. Portugal is positioning itself as a leading European hub for AI gigafactories, with an estimated investment exceeding 16 billion euros. These projects will reinforce European and national digital sovereignty, offering a secure alternative to infrastructures outside our jurisdictions. Our government is actively supporting the AI Gigafactory application with the European Commission, uniting national and international tech companies to shape the future of Europe's AI and advanced manufacturing. Portugal offers a truly exceptional strategic position. It is a hyper-hub for submarine cables linking the world, while Lisbon ranks among the most interconnected transcontinental cities in the world. This connectivity is complemented by a highly skilled professional ecosystem built through partnerships with world-class universities and innovation hubs. Beyond its social and economic impact, these initiatives catalyze strategic sectors, amplifying Portugal's existing industrial and technological strengths. For example, in health and pharmaceuticals, Portugal companies are leading in AI-driven innovation. Sword Health is a remarkable example, investing 250 million euros to create a global AI innovation hub in healthcare, doubling its annual talent investment and expanding its team from 500 to 930 professionals. This is how we build trust, innovation, and competitiveness all at once. AI must be guided by ethics, transparency, and human oversight. Citizen trust is the most valuable asset of digital governance, and trust is earned through responsibility, smart regulation, and data sovereignty. Innovation moves fast, sometimes faster than our hotel algorithms can handle, and even faster than the occasional rumors about jet slots. But that's also a sign of success, a country attracting talent, ideas, and the opportunity at full speed. Lisbon has become a meeting point for the world, where technology, creativity, and ambition meet. And as we embrace AI and the power of information, we also learn to separate what is real from what is just noise. AI can help us manage demand better in the future. For now, I see it as a proof that Portugal's digital future is already here. Portugal has all it takes to become an international benchmark for responsible public AI intelligence that serves democracy rather than the other way around. This government will provide a stable, investment-friendly regulatory environment and uphold a strong commitment to digital transformation and AI as pillars of growth. Portugal is ready to be a hub of AI excellence, competitive in cost, high in impact, and global in ambition. Our country has all the right conditions to become a world leader in artificial intelligence. But this future will only be real if we combine vision, leadership, and trust. Portugal's digital journey depends on our collective ability to do what technology does best: learn, adapt, and collaborate. So I leave you with a simple but demanding challenge. Innovate, experiment, dream, keep pushing, keep testing, keep imagining what's possible, because that is exactly what Portugal offers: a bridge between government and businesses, between innovation and industry, between Europe and the world, a place where ideas meet action and ambition becomes reality. Because Portugal is not only connected to the world, Portugal is connected to the future. Thank you very much.
Não é meu querido, obrigado. Não, foi bom, foi muito bom, foi muito bom. Here we go. Oh, no, it's working. You want me to say? You can talk here.
I'll talk into your...
Another one.
Another one?
Okay. Yo, whoa! Fantastic, fantastic. Amazing. All right, let's keep the energy going. It's now time for one of my favorite moments of the night. This is what Web Summit is truly about: the founders. The dreamers, the innovators, the people who have flown in from every corner of the planet to be here with us in Lisbon and building the great next generation companies. Web Summit has been called the Olympics of Tech, and this year we're leaning into this title. Tonight, we welcome 100 incredible entrepreneurs representing 100 different countries, from Algeria to Zimbabwe, to help us open Web Summit 2025. Everyone make some noise when you see your country. Bring them in. All right, let's start in Africa. The giants of innovation are here. We'll see founders from Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, Kenya, Cabo Verde, Morocco, carrying the flag and the future of their continent. The pioneers of Asia, from India, South Korea, Pakistan, Singapore, Japan, the Philippines, and China. Give it up for the next wave of global tech titans. Next up, we have the Middle East. From Oman, Lebanon, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Palestine, and Qatar. Big applause to these entrepreneurs. And across the Atlantic from the Americas, founders from Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru, Colombia, Mexico, the USA, and Canada. Join us on stage now. Last but not least, the spirit of Europe from Poland, the UK, Germany, France, Ireland, the Netherlands, Spain, Italy, Ukraine, and of course, the startup heroes of Portugal. They're all here, more than I can call out. Australia, New Zealand, Jamaica, the Aland Islands. Every flag, every continent, every idea. 100 countries, one stage. Keep it going. I know, keep clapping. There's your countries out there. Let's go. There's Hong Kong. Wow. There's Japan. All right. This is I can't believe we've never done this before. Can we turn on the house lights just for a moment so we can soak in this image? Turn on the lights so we can have a moment here. Yeah. No, not turn them off. Turn them on.
You go. Wow.
Round of applause for everybody. Yeah, even for yourselves. All right, since we brought them up here, I want to hear a little bit from some people. Here we have, where are you from?
I'm from Korea.
Korea, and what are you building?
We're building AI agents.
AI agents from Korea are here, amazing. Okay, who we got down here? Oh, where are you from?
Luxembourg.
Luxembourg, what are you building?
We are building a Decarbonix, which is a blockchain-based CRM software for carbon credits.
Carbon credit, CRM, wow. All right, let's run the other side quickly. I'm picking maps, flags I don't know. Hello, where are you from?
I'm from Angola.
Where?
Angola.
Angola. Fans, what are you building?
We're building a device, energy harvesting. We want to finish all the batteries in the world.
Wow, amazing. Okay. Last one over here. Where are you from, sir?
Belgium.
Belgium, what are you building?
We build an AI-powered platform that empowers local communities.
Amazing. All right, give everybody a round of applause. It's incredible. These incredible people, their energy, their ambition, this is why we're here, to represent the future of the world. Now, where's my mayor and my minister here? Now, by the power vested in me and alongside our partners from the city of Lisbon and the Portuguese government, I declare WebSummit Lisbon 2025 officially open!
Woo! Lisboa!
17-year-old, when she won Wimbledon, she went on to pick up 36 WTA titles. But her success on court has been matched, if not eclipsed, by her business achievements off court. According to Forbes, she was the highest paid female athlete in the world for 11 consecutive years. Now she's partnering with IBM, not only the best-known brand in computing, but increasingly a global leader in sports and AI technology. She'll be sharing her insights on how technologies like AI are transforming not just how fans engage, but how athletes train, perform, and strategize, turning athletic prowess into predictive science. So please welcome to the stage, in conversation with Sarah Marin, IBM's Chief Corporate Affairs and Brand Officer, Olympic medalist, 5-time Grand Slam champion, and a true icon of technological innovation in sports, the incredible Maria Sharapova.
The legendary Maria Sharapova accepted her induction into the International Tennis Hall of Fame.
Maria was just 17 years old. She stunned the world and won Wimbledon.
She is a 5-time Grand Slam tennis champion.
Sharapova was the highest paid female athlete in the world for 11 consecutive years.
Compete fiercely, raise your standard, and don't forget to celebrate your victories.
Well, good evening. How's everyone feeling tonight? You may be wondering who I am because I think no one introduced me, so I'm going to do an amazing self-introduction. I am Jessica Sibley, and I am the CEO of Time. We have Maria Sharapova here tonight. And we have somebody here from a company that no one's ever heard of, IBM. I'm so excited to moderate this conversation. First, we're going to play a quick video.
So interesting is to see a big company like IBM have its large language models, its generative AI tools be applicable in the world of sports. If you've been watching the U.S. Open this week, you have been benefiting from artificial intelligence.
F1, the latest to incorporate AI as they look to attract new fans, improve the experience for racers and for audiences.
The IBM Operations Center we saw earlier today handles everything from scoring data to cybersecurity.
What we've seen is it can actually unlock more human potential. At its heart, that's what sport is all about. It's all about human performance.
Well, here we are, 3 women with our session about smarter plays and how AI is changing the game. A $680 billion sports industry. And AI is not just redefining it, but who wins, who practices, and the experience of the game itself. A couple core themes: AI's transformation of sports. I love this one: fan personalization and engagement. The athlete's perspective. Technology and trust. That's a core issue for us at Time. And business impact. So let's get started with you, Maria.
Oh, no pressure.
Okay, what have you not done? You are an Olympic athlete. You've been #1. You've achieved so much, not just on the court, but off the court. You're described as, and you are, a CEO, a founder, an entrepreneur, an investor. You're also a New York Times best-selling author. You're a UN Goodwill Ambassador. You've connected tennis and fashion, and you told me backstage, I think that what you're most proud of is that you're a mom.
Yes, my new role.
Okay, so now you're doing AI.
Yes. Hello, Lisbon. This
this room is incredible. I think the last time I saw this crowd was at the US Open. So maybe the last time I was this nervous too. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about your achievements, which we already mentioned. You have won nearly 80% of your matches, and you've experienced the sport at the highest level. So explain how AI is changing the player experience, and talk a little bit about preparation, but also performance.
Yeah. So as you said, this 80%, that was the first time I heard of that figure, that number of winning matches. I was like, oh, well, that's not too bad. That it could have been 85. It's so interesting because I left the sport about 5 years ago, and it's been incredible to watch the transition, particularly with the way that athletes prepare for matches and the way that athletes recover for matches. I remember spending time with my coach for several hours as he navigates different video in order to compile a 2-minute clip for me to watch prior to a match, right? To go over an opponent's favorite shots, where they're going to serve on break point. All that took him several hours, which now IBM's able to provide within minutes. Also predictive patterns from myself. So I'd come off the court and I say, hey, I did that. And he's like, I don't know what match you were playing, but this is the stat. So he's able to get that and show it to me in real time. Recovery, understanding how the body performs and how it recovers, to see how athletes are taking that seriously now with AI tools is incredibly impressive. We'll speak on longevity a little bit later, but that's one of the tools that I've seen it being applied where I think that's going to make some of the biggest difference in AI technology.
Sarah, so you've had also an incredible career. I want to hear about IBM and how you've gotten into sports and technology, but you've been at Gap, you've been at Yahoo, Tesla, American Express. Wow, those are big brands. Let's talk about really fan engagement, because I think that's been a core area. And the study that you just released from IBM, talk about what the experience is for fans now using technology.
Yeah.
And what your study said.
Well, what we're hearing from fans is they actually want all of the things. They want AI in their experience. And I'm always a little bit suspect about that sort of study because I'm like, who actually says I want AI? But that's what we're hearing from fans because they've gotten a little bit of a taste of how expansive their experience can be. And for us, when we think about sort of what's changed between now and the work that we were doing with partners, including like the US Open and Wimbledon, even 10 years ago, is it's not a one-way communication. It is genuinely a two-way communication, and it goes beyond sort of the leaving comments, the things that we've seen in social media. What we're seeing now is this fan engagement technology encourages curiosity. So the fan who is curious is rewarded. And that also opens the aperture to fans who maybe aren't actually super fans. It's okay to be in a learning mode when you're in the privacy of sort of your own app and your own phone and your own home sometimes. And that's a big change from a lot of the one-way sort of push communications that you would see previously in a lot of fan engagement.
So where does this go? I mean, I'm not going to ask 5 years, but let's just say in the next 2 years, give some examples of how this technology is going to transform the experience for better, because that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's going to transform it for better. I think it's really going to hit, the sort of like business school term of like long tail, right? So right now, sports, leagues, teams, they really put a lot of time, talent, energy, and money towards the big stars. And what we're seeing with AI, especially with the technology that we're deploying, tennis is a great example, you have hundreds of matches going on, frequently with players who are super talented but may not be at the apex of their career yet. Through a lot of these AI tools, we're able to deploy things like commentary, really in-depth analysis. We're able to crunch a lot of data that previously was only reserved for that top tier of player. If you weren't on the main court, that was not available. And so those are some of the ways that I think and IBM believes that the fan experience is going to change radically over the next few years.
So Maria, what do you make of all this as person, as an athlete, who's so connected still to this day to your fans?
Yeah. Well, look, as a former athlete, and one of the reasons I loved sports so much was that it really relied on instinct. But what I've learned over the years is that the smarter you are as a player, the better your instincts become. So the more data you have, the more accurate data you have that you apply with repetition, the smarter you become and the better your instincts are. So in a tiebreaker of a third set, you are no longer thinking about certain patterns, but because you've already learned them, you know that they exist and you know that they're accurate, fortunately, you will make better decisions from it. So I was skeptical. I'm certainly warming up for it because I'm actually seeing the very benefits of it. And I also think from a fan's perspective, the more knowledgeable a fan is, the better it is for an athlete, because you know that they are engaged in the match, they're sitting there, they're still drinking their beer and having a good time with their friends, but they are well-versed in what's going on. They know that this perhaps will be a momentum shift. They now know that most likely on a break point, this player likes to serve T on the ad side. So they're just more knowledgeable, which makes the game in general better quality.
It almost reminds me of the time where everyone had a phone and then everyone had connectivity to conduct commerce and walking into stores, but looking at your phone and just being a more educated shopper, but still going into stores and leveraging technology. So we're sort of at that moment.
Yeah, and you always felt it. Like, you know that a fan, will engage with the top players because so much about the top players is known. But when they are engaging with a future star, who's going to be playing on court number 15, and all of a sudden you have highlights from that match and live commentary in so many different languages, all of a sudden you are a student of the sport. You're no longer just a fan of one player, but you are so much more knowledgeable about the sport in general.
So Sarah, as a business leader, you talk about using technology to engage and bridge communities and stakeholders. So teams, leagues, obviously the athletes and fans. Explain that and what that means.
Yeah, I think technology ultimately can bring those entities together in a way that really hasn't been done before. And, I think a lot of sports fans, they sort of grow up and a sports league or an athlete is a very far away thing. I think this sort of collapse of that space is really unlocked through data. And that's something that we just haven't had access to before. And to Maria's point, that's how you can connect with that player from your hometown who's out on court 15 and just sort of coming up in the ranks. I also think that it's an interesting confluence of all of the second screen behavior that we see now. So just to your point, you used to go in and sort of shop on a second screen. What we see, particularly with F1, is that people want to have their Ferrari app up. They're watching on TV, they've got a radio in their ear, and they might have an iPad or a second screen too. And so that sort of velocity of intake, unless you have a partner like AI that can help you make sense of it all, then it's just noise. And that's a lot of what we've seen change.
And now, this is my favorite topic, storytelling. That's what we do at Time. How is this changing storytelling, especially, Maria, when you're looking at Wimbledon or US Open and players can just instantly catch up and be informed, and how is that going to change, or how is it changing now, and where do you see that going?
I like the idea of fans allowing the athlete and giving information to the athlete on what information they'd like to extract from the athlete, right? If there is an athlete that is super fit or has a really, great first serve, they're directly to the athlete communicating, saying, show me more. How did you get there? What are the tools? Can you share more content around it? So I think the conversation is more direct. In the beginning, this was 10, 15 years ago, I was skeptical because you train away from the fans, right? You'd only see them during the match. There was very limited social media. It started with Facebook for me and ultimately went into Twitter and Instagram. And so that comfort level, as I evolved, I realized that conversation with fans is just as important, because what they see on the court is just a little piece of the athlete. It's everything else. It's how they train, how they recover, what do they do off the court, what are their interests. And so having that AI tool that connects the fan to the athlete is incredibly important, and something IBM has been focusing on for years, and a partner of tennis and Wimbledon for 30 years and the US Open. So the infrastructure has only been growing, which only means that the confidence that these leagues, that these teams, that these athletes have with fans is growing.
And just thinking about how AI is connected to the human body in such an important way now for getting ready, recovering, and all of that, and now expanding that to fans and being able to try to run somewhat of a playbook of how you have been able to compete. Okay, so Sarah, IBM announced some news, you made some noise here at WebSummit around your Sports Tech Startup Challenge. Congratulations, and talk about that.
Sports Tech Startup Challenge. Don't try to say it 5 times fast. I've made that mistake backstage.
It's like
times.
Shark Tank, but for sports AI? Is that kind
pretty
of the thing?
much.
Okay.
So we are partnering with WebSummit. WebSummit is obviously fabulous at this, has a long history of pitch competitions. And so this is going to be a part of that legacy. It's going to be in that same style with WebSummit as a partner. And it's going to be happening over the entire next year. So at all of the WebSummit events around the world, you're going to see us. We're going to have this competition going on, and it's going to culminate here in Lisbon next year. So keep your eyes out. And we are looking for startups with great ideas that bring together AI and sports in unique ways. And we'll take it from there.
Can I sign up as a panelist?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We would love that.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Raise your hand. Any AI startups in sports here?
Oh, yeah, we have a few
All right.
Even with the lights, we can see some hands.
We can see you. All right, let's switch to you as humans, personal, out of the office, not competing, not an athlete, not a CEO. You're at home. You're at home. How are you using AI?
Oh, in my everyday life, I use it as research tools, right? So I'm now a mom of a 3-year-old son, and for example, when he was young, like I was researching a lot about like allergies, right? Like how do you implement immunoallergies to his body is it from 6 months? How much do you feed him? And all of that as a new mom, you have no idea about. So that's how I use AI, like research tools. When I do presentations, all of that is fed through AI. So I use it pretty much every day of my life now.
I would say very similar answer. If you had asked me that question like a year ago, I was like an AI novelty person. So it was sort of like, what can I do? Now I think about AI through the lens of what do I not want to do and what can I offload? And so it's a lot of that like ticky-tacky, detailed research life stuff.
Right.
Like I don't actually want to know anything about what health insurance to buy, but AI is there to help me get a little bit smarter and spend less time doing it.
I'm a writer, an English major. I'm a reader. I'm good at numbers, but I'm not good at math. I use AI to just do a lot of math for me, and it's super fast and super correct. I will say we also at Time just made a big announcement. Thanks to the Axios team, we gave them the exclusive. We just launched Time AI Agent, and you can now read Time in Portuguese.
Oh.
And in 12 other languages. And if you're not a reader and you want to have summaries, or you want to have an audio version, or you want to interact with not just we're writing today, but also 102 years of our archives, you can. So 102-year-old brand, we are pushing in AI so we can make our storytelling accessible and available in any format to our fans. So I'm really excited about that.
Amazing.
Okay.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a very big deal.
Yeah.
And thanks to WebSummit, because we announced it at 5 o'clock, so 2 hours ago. I'd like to talk about a little bit of the future. What are you most excited about in AI? And I like to be hopeful. I know there's 2 conversations around enhancement, replacement. Are we going to be good or not? I'm always the serial optimist, and we are embracing this technology. What are your perspectives?
So I'll start with saying I'm also very optimistic. IBM, we are optimistic about this technology. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. For me, what I see a lot of opportunity in is, again, it's not about replacement, but it's about being able to have a much greater data set when you're looking at things like building a team, right? And so a lot of our sports partners, I'll give you a great example. We've been doing some of this work with FC Sevilla, where there are thousands of promising young footballers, and it's impossible for any one scout to really have a good sense of every single person. So that's a place where AI can help and can augment and can open doors. And that's a place that we're really bullish about seeing more future development.
I'm personally excited about prolonging an athlete's career. I think there are so many new innovations in biomechanics and medicine that will prolong and allow an athlete to have several more years, particularly for female athletes. You know, they're now able to comfortably freeze their eggs, prolong their career a few more years, and be at the peak of their, you know, high-intensity peak performance level. And also studying like biomechanics of the body movements, right? There are several ways, and something I did, especially toward the end of my career, kind of studying as my serve, right? Are there parts of my motion that could be more efficient, that could help me with speed, but I don't have to rely on repetition, right? I can do it effectively and less repetition, but work smarter. So I think there are new AI ways that will help prolong athletes' careers, or at least I really hope so, because I know we all have favorite athletes in this room, and we'd love to see them competing at their best for a very long time.
And what does that do for new athletes? What is AI? Is it just they enter, it's sort of like your 3-year-old is just going to grow up with this technology, and how is that going to differ from aging out athletes?
I personally think it gives them options, it gives them tools, and just like without AI, right, you have tools, you have, you know, you can tap into nutrition plans, you can have different training regimens, and now you have capabilities within the AI landscape that an athlete, no matter how young or old, can tap into, and so can their team. I think it really makes life easier for a coach, for a physical therapist, for a fitness trainer. There are so many different ways, more efficient ways to train now and recover, so that when you have 24 hours within to get ready for the next match at the US Open, right, or in football, you know that your body is going to be in top shape.
Well, for two very experienced, amazing women, we just had a stage full of entrepreneurs from around the world. We have a full house, so thank you all for being here tonight.
And this is the beginning. This is opening night.
First night.
And not at the bar with the beer or watching.
We'll be at the bar later.
Yes, later.
We're going right after this.
Join us.
Okay, so last question. What sort of advice would you give around AI, technology, and just the week here in Lisbon to this group? I'll go first.
Okay.
As much as we talk about technology, there isn't any replacement for being together. And here you are, I'm looking at all of you. You look amazing, by the way. Meet as many people as you can, make as many connections as you can. Use AI to help you store those connections, leverage those connections, stay in touch with those connections, and build your businesses around the people that you meet who will help you along the way.
Yeah, mine would be very similar. Have every conversation. You know, WebSummit is exhausting. By the end of the week, you're like, I do not want to talk to any more human beings. And that's the wrong thing. Have the conversation.
Well, they'll just talk to robots then.
Exactly. You can talk to your robots later.
Okay, Maria, you get the last and final word.
You know what, I think you have the choice of, as much as you want to tap into AI, whether even if you're unsure, you're afraid or intimidated, I think there's always something out there for you, so don't be afraid to try things, and you can always back out if need be.
To try things. I love that. Well, thank you so much, and
Thank
have
you
a
very
great
much for having
WebSummit.
us. Thank you.
Okay, most important, he's made it through the traffic. All right? Are we all excited for the next speaker? Wow, great. Our next speaker is the most followed human on TikTok, full stop. Please welcome in conversation with Newsweek's Jennifer Cunningham, the Global Chief Consumer Product Officer of Visa, Mark Nelson, and the one and only Kabe Lame.
He's the #1 followed person on TikTok in the entire world.
Kabe Lame.
Kabe Lame.
Kabe Lame.
Kabe Lame, the man who built his empire by cutting through the noise with silence.
Over 250 million followers across all platforms.
Hundreds of millions of people recognize his trademark shrug.
He's the proof that creativity is no longer bound by borders, accents, or studios, just by imagination.
One of the most recognizable faces on the internet.
The smartest thing you can do online is often say nothing.
His shrug has become a global language.
He is the #1 most followed creator on the platform. Full stop.
And I love to make people smile.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kabe Lame.
Wow! So many people. Oh my God. So many people. My God.
I told you.
Good evening, Lisbon. How we doing tonight? It's wonderful to be here with all of you. We're at a crossroads where creativity, commerce, tech, and innovation are converging at a lightning speed. And Visa responded by moving to formally recognize content creators as business owners. So that was a year ago. What's changed since then?
I mean, a lot has changed in general. I think if you look at content creators, there's over 200 million of them, and they represent almost $500 billion in commerce. And so what we did over the last year is a detailed study. We interviewed 1,000 content creators in 5 different countries just to get to know a little bit more about what's going well, what are their pain points. And what I have learned is that, one, they're really quite competent. It's no longer a hobby. This is a full-time job. 88% of the survey responders are making over $100,000 a year as a content creator. So these are real businesses. But what we also notice is that there's not a lot of software designed for these creators. And it's really quite manual. If you think about a creator, they create a brand deal, a couple brand deals, and they'll see money come into their bank account, and there's no way to link, like the money that just came in, like what brand deal was that for? And it doesn't seem to match. And so just trying to get this optimization going is such a huge opportunity for us as a business.
Kabi?
Oh, I just want to say hello to everybody. Oh, I'm not used to speak in front of all these people. I actually don't speak at all, if I have to remember. I think most of you guys have never heard me speak, but here I am. Here I am.
Yeah, I think it's the first time many people are hearing your voice for the first time.
The first time. And I'm happy to be here, and I think... sorry, what's the question for?
Why don't we move on to the next question?
Yeah, let's move on to the next one. I think...
Kabi, you have built a global brand on silent humor. I've seen lots of comparisons to you being this generation's Charlie Chaplin. When did you start thinking of your content as more than creativity and as an actual business?
You know, I always think about just making content and try to make people laugh. You know, that was my main things. And I think business and business, money, and all these things just came along, because if you focalize all your main to make money, I think it's not the same things to put your heart to make people laugh. You know, I think money will come eventually, but the first thing is believe on what you're gonna do and do what do what you like. Thank you.
When did you realize, though, that, wow, I have something here that people want to see, and I can turn this into a business, into a global brand?
Oh, when I realized, that's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah, I realized that when I had my first opportunity, my first work opportunity was to be a Hugo Boss ambassador. I started with that. That was my first contract that I ever had in my life. And when they show me, they see this guy that doesn't speak at all. They say, "Oh, right, this guy is kind of cool." And they say, "All right." So sign me up. And I started to work for Hugo Boss. And then Fortnite came along, a lot of brands came along, and I started to work with them. But like I said before, the main things of a creator should be just be yourself and love what you are doing. And don't thinking about the money. Because if you just think about money and having a business and becoming rich, you're never going to get rich. You're going to get rich if you do what you like, and that's the business going to come along. That's what I think, maybe. But, maybe it's not like that.
That's great advice for the creators in the audience. Mark, how has Visa seen that recognition of content creators translate into impact for the creators, not only in terms of accessibility to funding, but also building credibility as business operators?
You know, I think it's just incredible to watch what the creators are doing. And what we've been really focused on is how do we give creators like Kabi just more time to be creative. And so we've been looking at like the AI tools. And I know a lot of people in here are working on AI, but like how can we actually use AI agents to help modernize and optimize some of the stuff that you have to do behind the scenes so that gives you more time to be creative. And a lot of what we're trying to do is say, if I can like create some simple rules that says, hey, if I have an invoice that comes in and it's less than $500, I want to pay it immediately. Or if it's more than $500, I want to be able to like pay it over time. But giving creators the flexibility to have tools and solutions in a way that they trust, we think will really just help creators have such a bigger impact in the world.
There can be a tension between art and enterprise, especially for content creators who start out making content just for enthusiasm's sake. How do you see creators reconciling their creativity with commercial strategy, with the business side?
Talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Okay. I think, yeah, that's another good question. Let me think about it. Business. I think if you want to connect the business with the creativity that you are doing, is a good tool to use it for make money. Yeah, but if you will talk about AI and those things, I think for the creator now, this is the time for come out and make content, because AI is not everything in this world, you know. Because people now, they are thinking that AI is gonna. I think the real comedy from the people. Oh, thanks so much. I think AI right now is kind of covering a lot of social media. I can even recognize anymore what's real and fake anymore. I was making fun of my father about this, and I'm in the same position right now. So it's kind of strange. But I think this is the moment for the creator to make original content, because people love watch something that is not always AI. So it's good for them to start to make something different and make something that people gonna enjoy, something creative and original. Yeah.
Let's stay on AI for a second. Yep. Have AI-powered tools changed your own creative process when you're content creating?
No, I don't think so. But AI is getting every day more closer to to the regular days, you know. But I think I'm actually not using AI that much. Sometimes I use ChatGPT when I don't know something, you know. I just go to ask ChatGPT because it's a little quicker. But I don't use AI that much. I just make my content are really simple. I just try to make easy content, funny content that everybody can get. That's why I don't talk. That's why I can get all the word, understand what's the meaning of the video, and yeah, that's it.
Do you? Do you use AI in your everyday life?
No, not that much. Not that much. No, I don't use AI that much. Sometimes when I have to check something on. I ask AI about because I read a lot of manga, One Piece. I'm also into these things, so sometimes I go ask ChatGPT about it.
Mark, from the financial infrastructure perspective, what do creators need most right now to be treated like legitimate business owners and not like hobbyists?
I think there's a lot of financial tools in general. I think what is hard for a creator is to get access to credit because you don't look like a traditional like business to a traditional bank. And so really what we've been looking at is like partnering with financial firms that look at creators a little bit differently. They look at metrics like what is your social media following, what's your engagement score to help get creators a little bit access to money in an easier way. And one thing that we're really excited about would just be some of the Web3 technologies and how do you start to let creators self-fund themselves. So how can I create like a token that I can sell to my friends or my followers and say, hey, if you buy this token, I will guarantee you 3% of my future earnings for 10 years. So you can actually invest in a creator to give them access to money that a bank isn't going to give them to. And then that's just so interesting what you can start to do with some of these blockchain Web3 technologies that over time we see will be deployed more broadly. And I think one of the challenges right now with Web3 is that the tools are kind of hard to use. They're not super intuitive. So for all of you entrepreneurs in the room, that's really an area where we could use some help so that we can start to get these tools more broadly deployed.
Mark, I quickly want to pivot back to the AI question because AI is simultaneously expanding creative horizons while raising ethical and legal questions. How is Visa approaching the complexities as part of its broader fintech strategy?
I think for us, what we're doing with AI, we announced last year the ability to have an intelligent commerce whereby you as a consumer can grant an AI access to your credit card and it can make payments on your behalf. So what we've been trying to do is figure out, well, what's the technology in place to enable that at scale? How can I verify that the consumer actually did give access to that agent or the creator gave access to that agent? And how do we know that they authenticated that agent to do and buy something on their behalf? So we've been really focused on how do we validate agents, how do we authenticate the consumer, how do we make sure that the instruction or the intent to purchase something actually was accurate. And so there's a whole set of APIs that are being developed and deployed and around the world, and it's something that will take a long time to get deployed at scale, but that's really what our focus is on, how to get trust in the system so people can start to use AIs at scale.
So the creator economy isn't going anywhere. It shows no sign of slowing down. And yet things like fees, currency barriers, and compliance can limit the global potential of especially smaller creators. What innovations are you exploring in order to level the playing field?
I think for us on the payment side, we've been really focused on how do we give consumers and creators as much flexibility and choice as they could imagine. And so what we saw in our survey is like over 50% of creators have people that buy from them that are overseas. And trying to get money moved or sent to someone overseas, as you know, can take some time. It can take 2 or 3 days for the money to clear. So what we've been trying to do is figure out how can we use real-time technology to get payments securely sent to the recipient as fast as possible in as many ways as possible. And we had a solution called Visa Direct, where the recipient can say, I want you to push funds to my Visa card, or to my bank account, or to my stablecoin wallet. So there's so many different ways in which a recipient can now choose to receive money. And so that's one of the things that we've been really focused on, is just get money delivered as quickly as possible with as much optionality as we can offer.
Kavi, what has your experience been like in this new financial paradigm with Visa? Are you getting paid faster? Are you able to monetize your work with brands?
Yeah, it's, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm keep working. I'm doing my job. I'm doing all right.
So, Kabi, earlier this year, you had a very public encounter with U.S. immigration enforcement. And firstly, just human to human, how are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Okay.
So much. How you doing?
I'm great.
Oh,
I'm
good.
great. Thank you.
Good.
It was a moment that highlighted global mobility and how it can directly impact creator success. How did it make you, the experience, how did that make you think about things like global mobility for creators and how that can, the lack of it or the abundance of it can directly impact your bottom line?
You got the hard
Can you say
question.
it again? It's a hard question. You know, I didn't get it that much. You know.
You're the funny guy. You got the hard question.
How did that experience impact you in terms of the way that you create and move around and think about your mobility globally?
My mobility globally, yeah. Yeah, I travel a lot. I just came from Saudi Arabia. I've been in Saudi Arabia for a quick event, and my mobility is I move a lot. I like to move a lot. And right now I'm working on my own movie. But,
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I can't say much. I can say much because I have a sniper somewhere here. If I say something wrong about this movie, but it's gonna come soon. I'm working on it, and I hope to see everybody in the cinema, hopefully.
Congratulations. This next question is for both of you. Do you feel that the current system, whether it's the legal system, the institutional system, the financial system, is keeping up with how borderless the creative economy really is?
Yeah, you go first.
I'll go first. I think it's interesting that you mentioned borderless, because if you think of the most borderless currency, it is digital currency. It's stablecoins, and they've been around a while, but we really started to see some progress over the past year. There's regulation now that's being created, it's being drafted, and it's giving more clarity on how we can use this digital currency to enable borderless commerce better. And it's actually just super interesting to me because I've been at Visa for 20 years, and one thing that we've had as a goal for us is how do we get the unbanked population part of the digital economy? And so what's interesting is that if there's over 1 billion adults in the world that don't have a bank account. And if you don't have a bank account, it's really hard to do something online. You have to pay a lot of fees and extra dollars to go and do something. And so stablecoins start to break that down, because even if you don't have a bank account, you could get a stablecoin wallet. And then if you do a job and you want to get paid, you could give your employer or the person, here's my stablecoin address, please send the stablecoin currency of my choice to this address. And you can start to now unlock an entire population of people into this digital world. And I think since we're here talking about creators, think of how many amazing ideas are in these brains, like books and movies and music that is just waiting to be unlocked. And I think that's what's so exciting about how digital currencies really will play such a huge role in our future of unlocking this huge population.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
Whatever he said.
Yeah. I agree with you. You can go to the next one. Yeah, it was a nice answer, man. Good job.
What does the future look like for content creators? What do you see in the next year, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years in this space?
Oh, I see the future is kind of bright for everybody. I think as long that you keep going in what you are doing, and as long that you keep loving what you are doing, you can get everywhere. And I think there is not such a thing like a peak. Sometimes I hear, oh, my peak was when I was 16. No, your peak can be when you even are 60 years old or 90 years old. You decide when is your peak. You know, I think your peak is during your whole life, working hard, working when no one sees you. You know, that's the hard part when you are working. You're working hard every day, and no one sees how hard you are working, but you are doing it, and that's the part of your peak, and that's where you're gonna get stronger and stronger. You guys are too good. You guys are too good.
What does the future look like for content creators?
What the future looks like for content?
You're going to go first on this one.
What the future looks like? Yeah, it depends of you. Depends of how much you believe. Depends of you. Everyone has his own future. You know, I can tell what's his future gonna look like, or what's his future gonna look like. You know, everyone has his life. Everyone everyone is gonna do his mistakes, because doing mistakes is normal and is human. You know, so I'm just gonna give a big good luck to everyone, and to keep standing up every time.
I would add, I think maybe a future as well, if you're done, do you have more? I think the future would maybe be content creators can own their own content more.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you have to just publish to one of the global platforms, and then you'll get paid out through kind of a middleman. But going back to, there's Web3 technology where if you're a creator, you can create an NFT token of your asset. So you have a song or a music or a movie, whatever idea you have, you can create a token. You can then go sell those tokens direct to your fans. And so you, as a content creator, will really own your content more in the future than you probably ever could today. And that's that shift from like the Web 2 infrastructure that we have today over to Web 3, where you can really own your content and get paid more of the money and kind of strip out the middleman a little bit more. So more money for you.
Good.
Good future.
Good thing. As we wind down, I want to talk about advice for a moment. We have a number of content creators in the audience, emerging content creators. What's one big piece of advice that you would want to give to them?
Yeah, that life is hard. Life is hard, and you gotta live it day by day. You don't have to be too attached of the things that you lost, but the things that you're gonna achieve in the future. So keep going and trust God, because God is good, and He's always there to help. And yeah, keep it going until you can, and don't get influenced by the other people, because the limits of the other people are not your limits. That's really important.
That's great advice. Wonderful talking to you both. What a way to end on a high note.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Oh, do we go?
Another round of applause for Kabelame. All right. Lovable has been called the fastest growing software company in history. It went to $100 million in revenue in just 8 months. A European startup from Sweden, it's an absolutely incredible story. So please welcome in conversation with TechCrunch's Connie Lozois, co-founder and CEO of Lovable, Anton Oshika.
Everyone's talking about Lovable. Lovable has become the fastest growing software startup in history, faster than Shopify, Slack, and even OpenAI.
I mean, the traction has been phenomenal.
Fastest growing company in Europe.
They were building a tool that was applicable to the masses.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anton Oshika.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Anton, I'm so glad we're here together. You have a very hot dance card right now. Everyone wants to interview you or partner with you or hear from you. Is it exhilarating? Is it exhausting? Is it both?
Yeah, first, Connie, just great to meet you. It's wonderful to be here in Lisbon. I love the city. I know that I know we have some of the most inspiring builders here in this room specifically, but I mean, on your question, I think it's a privilege to be part of this huge transformation. What we're seeing is that people that were not able to build software before, they suddenly have these tools that they can create, and we see millions of builders creating new products and building businesses on top of them. That's what I care about, and that's what I spend my time thinking about.
But it's, it is kind of amazing to think that a year ago you were an open source developer, then you went to venture-backed founder, and now you're here. I mean, what is the strangest part of this transition for you?
I mean, I think you should talk to my wife about how she sees this. No, but I think it's very fun. I'm spending most of my time thinking about how do we build a team that works really, really well together, where my focus is just enabling people to execute. And it's in the team, having an environment where the team can just go out and execute without asking for approval, moving really fast. And it's to enable people who are using our platform to execute. We're seeing 100,000 new products built on Lovable every single day.
Wow.
Now. And many of those become successful startups. I spoke to Henrik and Peter recently, they're from Sweden as well. They already making $700,000 per year after starting 7 months ago,
Wow.
Building on top of Lovable.
That's great. I've heard a lot of really interesting story. A Brazilian ed tech company that said it made $3 million, 48 hours after building its platform. But I just want to index on this one more second because I think your story is so interesting. I mean, you were a particle physicist at one point in your career. So I guess just walk us through how do you get from there to the point of waking up one morning and saying, I've got to build this thing?
Yeah, so I'm a nerd of physics, and being at CERN, I think it taught me a bit on first principle thinking, like understanding things deeply, and that's been helping me build startups. I was the first employee with Joel at building Sauna Labs. It was a wonderful experience for me, and then later on I founded Lovable. And the idea was super simple. What if we could let anyone who has an idea be able to build software on top of that idea? And now, as I said, 100,000 projects created every day. And what I'm spending my time thinking about is how do I talk to users, make sure that we're evolving very rapidly the platform to best serve their needs. And that's my story and where I spend my time.
That's great. Well, so tell us a little bit more about your customers. Can you say how many customers you have? And also, are you building this only in Stockholm, or do you have offices now in around the world?
So when we started, me and Fabian, we were both only in Stockholm. And we were thinking, okay, I built this tool, open source tool, GPT Engineer. It was used by developers. It had gone viral, so you had a few million people trying that out. But I was thinking, look, if you want to reimagine how software is being created in the future, the best people to focus on are the people who don't know how to write code today. It's 99%, right? And I woke up a few days after building GPT Engineer, and I realized, look, we're going to reimagine how you build software, and we are not focused on the 99% initially. So I biked to my co-founder's place, and I said, I have this great idea. I woke him up. We went on a walk, and I explained, the way to do this is to focus on people who really, really want to create something. And that is founders, to your question, who want to build companies, or they are building a company, they want to move faster. And those are still today the biggest group of individuals using our platform, the customers. But what we're seeing now is that, I mean, so Lovable has been a word of mouth spread, a consumer movement, and now it's spreading into many of the most successful companies in the world. So we have, I think, more than half of Fortune 500 companies using Lovable to supercharge creativity. And have you heard the phrase, demo, don't memo?
No.
So this is a very popular quote among product leaders to a large extent. And what it's saying is basically, don't come with a long slide presentation or a long document about what we should be doing. Just vibe code the thing that you think we should be creating at the company. And then when anyone in the company or some of your early testing customers can try out what you built, it's much easier to decide where should we go next as a company. So Lovable and this creativity that it enables and the validation of ideas it enables is now being adopted in large companies, small companies, and from founders. And I mean, I know someone here in Lisbon who is an 11-year-old boy. He built Facebook for his school. And that's like one more example of how this movement is affecting everyone.
That's exciting. I mean, it is really interesting because when I saw Lovable's tagline, 99, for the 99% of people who don't code, I wasn't necessarily thinking you were going after knowledge workers inside of companies. So I think that is really interesting. I was thinking more of the 11-year-old boy who's building Facebook. But in terms of numbers, is it like 2.3 million-ish? That's a number that I saw. I'm just wondering if we've moved away from that.
I think we have 8 million users.
8 million, okay, great. And in terms of your marketing philosophy, you mentioned that a lot of the growth is word of mouth. I have to just wonder, there's so much competition, and San Francisco, where I live, is plastered with marketing materials from AI companies. How do you think about breaking through the noise?
So what we focus on is just us building a simple product. What I'm hearing is people trying Lovable, it just works. And I think maybe there's some of that Swedish design taste going into it, but more specifically, Lovable is more than the product, it's the movement and a community that's teaching other people who are joining the community, how do you get work done with this completely new tool?
Right.
I want to do a shout out. There's someone in the community, maybe in this room, who's hosting a Lovable hackathon here tomorrow at 2 p.m. I think you should go.
I guess we found them.
Yes. Like we have a super ambitious vision. We say we build the last piece of software, which is more than just this creative tool, the entry point for creation. It's a platform where everything a product organization does it can be collapsed into one platform with an intuitive interface, and whatever you want to get done, be it understand your users better or change the product that is running a mission critical loads, it can be done through this very, very simple interface. And that's what we're going, and that's what I spend my time and the team spends their time thinking about.
Well, certainly investors are very excited in your company. And I just wanted to ask, you've raised 228 million-ish, but it seems like there's much more interest. I'm sure you're receiving inbound interest all the time. Are you trying to sort of raise capital efficiently, or are you kind of, I guess, just waiting for the right offer? I'm assuming that you will be raising it.
Yeah. So as a business, I don't think so much about funding. We're not capital constrained as a business.
Okay.
What's most important to build Lovable into a very enduring company is the biggest factor is really the team and how we work together. And I'm talking about every week that Lovable must be the most rewarding workplace in Europe. And that, I think, is the biggest enduring factor. The other one is like what we're seeing from the community. I spoke to the founders of a company, Bricanta. So they built their product on top of Lovable, and now they got into Y Combinator, and they're serving their customers who are in real estate management. And they are in turn inspiring the next user of using Lovable. And I think that this is like the enduring part. The fun, raising more money, as you're commenting on, is we set up the company, so we're quite capital effective. We're growing the team. We're growing outside of Europe now as well, since there's so much interest from large companies and medium-sized companies in the US, for example. But so far, capital has not at all been.
That's great. It just feels like there's a real arms race happening right now, so it's very much top of mind. It's interesting you talking about the durability of Lovable. I mean, I think it's interesting. You are building this very European company that's kind of, in a way, an American, to a certain extent, business, AI coding tools. And I wonder if you think about the advantages of maybe being outside of Silicon Valley and what those might be.
Yeah, so look, I think there is something that is in our culture that is a bit more long-term thinking, how you work together. We work, I think, in a less hierarchical way, where, I mean, my job as a CEO is to create this environment where people can move really fast and just take decisions on their own and execute. And then there's a lot of talent that is not just been absorbed by finance sector or been absorbed by the big tech companies they all want to work at Lovable, right? So I think that's also an advantage in being in Europe.
Well, I was wondering, because, Silicon Valley has hustle culture, and it feels like it's growing sort of more extreme by the year, where people in San Francisco really are working 12-hour days now, like 6 days a week. And in some ways, some people might say that's a disadvantage to companies here. But on the other hand, sustainability, people don't burn out. And I would think that that is a carrot that you could offer to people. You don't have to kill yourself to work for this company.
Yeah, so I'm very clear on that. What I care about is that everyone who's at the company, they're mission-driven. They really care about what they're doing and how we as a team succeed. That's really what matters. And the best people in my team today, most of them, they have kids. And they really, really care about what we're doing. They're not working 12 hours, 6 days a week. Although it's a startup, so they're probably working more than most jobs.
Right. How many employees do you have?
So we just passed 100 people at the company right now.
Great. I want to talk about, I guess the big question for all AI coding companies is this a sustainable business? Is this a feature of one of the LLM companies? I think the talk that's been circulating in the industry is about churn and retention. Do you think that that is an issue for your company and other AI vibe coding companies?
So for our retention is very good. And you can plot it, and it's like, it's good. We have more than 100% net dollar retention, which means that the money our users are spending is higher than the first month as you go out. And it looks like a smile. I don't know if people are, but smile means that the retention is improving as the product is getting better and better every single month. So it's clear to us that this is just the beginning. And to most people today, Lovable has been this entry point for creation, like rocket fuel for creativity. But what we already have, and that's being expanded around this entry point, is a platform where you can run all your software requirements, be it internal tools in existing businesses, launching new product lines. You mentioned Kaio, who started Q Group, built out a completely new product line on top of Lovable, and made $3 million just at launch. And it's just the beginning. It's very clear to us.
Okay, that's great. I guess even beyond churn, which every business deals with, is use cases. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned at the outset that you're making inroads with Fortune 500 companies. You also have an 11-year-old who just built this Facebook company. How would you sort of break down your audience base?
So Lovable started as a community movement, right? And there's all of these individual creators, mom and pop stores creating their website, and Lovable just gives them more flexibility and much more speed to create websites, applications. One prompt and you're asking for AI, and it adds AI to your application, your website. So it's changing the game for all those individual creators. And then we have a new generation of founders. Founders that in the past, they were extremely bottlenecked by finding good engineers, and now they can do it themselves. So I met the founders of Stardust earlier this year. They were at the Lovable hackathon, and now they just raised $2 million, building out an AI startup on top of Lovable. And this is the 99% of founders, and they can move much faster than older companies. The last group are individuals working in teams in large existing companies. And there what's happening is that, you might know this from large companies, there's a lot of great ideas. Most of them never even make it to an engineering backlog. Now what you're seeing is that, so I spoke to a leader at McKinsey, and she had planned to build out a prototype for a new tool that would take them 4 months. And she discovered Lovable. 3 hours later, she had built a full prototype herself. So that's an example of how operations and finance, as well as engineers, product managers, designers, are just going much faster from an idea to a working version of the product that might make it to production, or you might quickly realize, no, we should be building something else.
Right.
So those are the three groups. It's everyone out there, it's the founders, and then it is in existing companies, where the 99% in companies collaborate with engineers on the tool that we built.
Great. I also wanted to talk to you about security, which I think is an issue for some companies. There was this app, T, that was built on, using vibe coding tools, and 72,000 images were sort of released into the wild, and it included, GPS data and IDs. I'm just wondering, how comfortable are you that something built on Lovable is not going to make it to, 4chan?
Great, I'm very happy you asked this question. The part of the engineering organization where we're moving as quickest on hiring is security engineers. And Stockholm has a great community of security engineers. So in the last 6 months, we've added a lot of security features. And our goal is very simple. It has to be more secure to build with Lovable than building with just human written code. And I think it's quite clear to me that these days you would never launch a space rocket with a human pilot only. You have machines running this because they are more precise, and that's going to be the future of security as well. If you're building a product that is not secure, you simply should not have built it at all. And if you try Lovable, you will notice a lot of security checks that it goes through before you can release it to real users.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, I was going to ask, I mean, in fairness, again, you're about to celebrate your first birthday, very, very early days for the company, but I wondered if you would, at this point, use a banking app or a healthcare app yourself that was made on Lovable.
For a banking app, I would encourage the person who uses Lovable to get a security expert. Like the same goes for a human engineer that builds a banking app. They should hire a security expert before they put real money through the system.
Yeah.
But that's a very straightforward thing to do. If you build something on Lovable, engineers can look at all the code, edit all the code themselves if they want to, just like it was not built on Lovable, and it synchronizes, so it's a very collaborative way for engineers to plug into the system.
Right. You know, I also just wondered about, there was a tweet that went viral this weekend. It was a developer who was very frustrated with OpenAI and Anthropic, which are sort of the back end of Lovable. And he said, you know, they keep kind of changing the rules on us. They sort of embrace standards and then abandon them. They're not really stable platform partners, which, you know, a lot of people responded to that tweet saying, you know, amen. I'm just wondering, what has your experience been like?
So we focus fundamentally on building the most intuitive experience that packages everything you need to build a software product. It's payments, analytics, and AI. So if you build an AI application, an agent, you can do it on top of Lovable. And to do this really fast and with the most reliable way, we work with dozens of partners, and we're adding more partners, and we really, really care about those partners. And specifically, Anthropic and OpenAI and Google and others who are providing AI, they've been great partners. They really care about our relationship, and we're investing in those relationships and many other relationships.
Great. Well, of course, you are in a crowded space, a competitive space. One of your competitors is Replit. And it seems like maybe you've got a little bit of beef with Amjad Masad. I mean, at least it seems like you guys have sort of responded to one another on social media, which I think is sort of interesting, and I'm curious to see how that plays out over time. But also OpenAI and Anthropic, the very obvious sort of concern from an outsider might be these guys have built their own coding agents. They've got, you know, infinite resources to post-train their models. How do you sort of compete? How do you think about them going forward?
Look, what we've done since we started very recently is just to focus on how do you create the best product, the most intuitive experience for humans. And we have a very ambitious long-term vision for how is the creation of software going to look in the future, how does interacting with software going to look in the future. And that's all I care about, and that's what we're spending time on. And at the same time talking to our users and seeing like how do we make this platform that we're building solve their problems the best. I think I mean I love everyone else building in this space as well. I think like if we can unlock more human creativity and human agency, like it's been so hard to create software and it's been capital constrained and everything, and just driving the change so that anyone can create if they have good ideas, build business on top of that. That should be celebrated, regardless of whoever does that. I mean, I think what people are saying, Lovable just works, is what is going to continue to be the case, and it's going to empower more people to succeed in whatever outcomes they want to reach coming to our platform.
That's great. Well, I love that you see it as a net gain for everybody. I think that's really refreshing. You know, before we go, there are founders in the audience who are building things possibly on Lovable, possibly not unlovable, but what are the, you know, what's maybe one lesson that you've learned this year? Maybe what was harder than you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, so we're growing the team fast. What I've realized is very important is to make it clear to the team who is responsible for what. And we just hired wonderful leadership. Many of them are moving from San Francisco to Stockholm to build where the core headquarters are right now. Spending that upfront time in talking to a lot of senior people who would be joining the company took more time than I expected. I'm so excited about the outcome where we are right now.
That's great. I'm sure you could use the support. You know, in terms of, you know, I just wanted to ask you quickly, we had talked backstage about this and I just thought it was interesting. In terms of sort of, you know, the age of founders, they seem like they're getting younger and younger in Silicon Valley. And it's kind of exciting. It's a little bit confusing. I think there's like positives and negatives. You had founded a company years ago with a founder who was 17 at the time. And I just wondered what your thoughts are on that sort of trend for maybe younger founders here, one of whom I rode in a shuttle coming from the airport to the hotel, who was lovely and is so excited to start her company.
Yeah, so if you're going to build a company, what's most important is that you're super curious about like what are all the ingredients of building a company, putting together a great team, making everyone excited about the same thing, how to learn, how to talk to your customers and build a product. And the amount of like energy and excitement you have, I think, is the most important factor. And some young people really have that motivation and energy and willingness and speed of learning and picking new things up. So I think I'm very excited about young people becoming founders. As you're saying, there's a ton of super young or teenagers at least who are building businesses on top of Lovable. And it's a pretty good education as well to build a company. You learn everything on how a business works, what you need to do, and how to become good at communicating.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just exciting that so many people are becoming founders, period.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Anyway, it's so great to meet you and spend time with you, and thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. As you know, that's the end of the night. Thank you to our incredible speakers, our partners, the City of Lisbon, and most of all, thank you to the founders, investors, and attendees. The connections have been made, the energy is set, the conversations start now, and they continue at Night Summit. So check your app for the best locations tonight. And welcome to WebSummit.